On the Tom Kelly Show podcast, perhaps the most ambitious show I've ever recorded in a pretend studio format. Brian Balthazar, you know him from, what do we know you from, actually?
Probably not much. No,
okay. So stay tuned.
I co-hosted a show called Human versus Hamster.
Okay, there you go.
It was on Max with Sarah Sherman from SNL.
Okay, there's one.
Kyle Brandt. And I'm on the Today Show quite a bit. I used to be on the Wendy Williams show.
You're an HGTV executive for the sake of the story.
I used to be.
And there we go. Cold open done. Let's start the show.
The Tom Kelly Show. Everybody, I want you to go to the Tom Kelly Show. I want you all to know.
Music playing, and I had the music composed by a man on the subway. And here we go. Who wants the podcast today? You are, where are we? Jenkinstown? Jenkinsville?
Jenkintown, Pennsylvania.
Podcasting from Jenkinsville, Pennsylvania.
Jenkintown.
Jenkintown.
Yeah.
So your camera's there, mine is there, and we're going to pretend there's a TV studio audience on this. You are experiencing the Tom Kelly Show. I'm here in Jenkinstown, Pennsylvania, with my friend Brian Balthazar. And if you don't mind, I'm going to just monologue for a second.
Go for it.
Brian is a guy I worked with for 6 months during the weirdest year at The View. He was funny and kind, but honestly, he was like an executive producer. I didn't really get to know you as well.
Not as much as we should have.
We should.
But yeah. The good news is that we followed with quite a bit.
And you're and we have almost parallel careers in that he did stand up. I always credit you as the man who came up with the idea of putting Kathie Lee and Hoda together. Is that true?
I launched the 4th hour of the Kathie Lee and Hoda show.
So were you the one who said, let's put these two crazy people together?
I don't want to take full credit. There are a lot of people that had into that. But I was fortunate enough to start that show.
So you said, let's take honestly, Hoda was unknown.
Pretty much.
Right.
I mean, she had an amazing career, but people didn't know her in the way
I
they
knew
know
her from
now.
Dateline, because I worked at Dateline.
She was always the most fun. Long before she was like the big star, she had been a correspondent at the Olympics and done Dateline and stuff. And we as producers always wanted to work with Hoda.
Yeah.
She was fun. Back then, she was fun and easygoing and just a great person to work with from the very start.
And then some crazy person said, let's hire Kathie Lee Gifford and put her on her new show.
Hoda and a woman named Amy Rosenblum went to lunch at Michael's. Do you know Michael's in Manhattan?
I know that it's where fancy people go.
So it was this restaurant, still is there in Midtown, and every week they would do a column with a seating chart of who was sitting at what table during that lunch. There was Wednesdays at Michael's was a big thing. And one time I had lunch there with Kathie Lee and Tony Bennett at the same table. Barbara Walters had a table they always sat her at. And it just so happens that Kathie Lee was there one day and so was Hoda. And they had Kathie Lee come on as a guest host one day, and the rest was kind of like, wait, this is really good. Let's see if we can do this.
Okay, and there you go.
Yeah.
So he's credited with that, and then for some crazy reason, he's performing in the Holiday Inn basement with me this weekend in Princeton, New Jersey. Like,
that's not altogether untrue. We are.
It's actually a Hyatt.
It's a Hyatt,
and it's a great place. Catch a rising star. Even if you weren't at the show, pretend you were. Leave a comment and say you want to see us there again.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about my fan base. They don't come to my shows, but they comment as if they were.
I love that. Keep those comments coming.
Keep those comments coming.
I love it in advance.
So I guess let's start with dumb things.
Okay.
Why the hell would you, a guy who is an executive at blank number of production companies, a man who hosts a show with my favorite woman from Saturday Night Live? I have a weird crush on Sarah Sherman.
She's fantastic.
I have crushes on everybody.
That's a valid crush. Like, she's adorable, beautiful, funny, just bizarre in the best possible way.
I have a crush on her specifically when she's busting Colin Jost's balls on Weekend Update on Saturday.
Have you seen her perform stand-up?
I have not.
It is sheer insanity.
Well, I mean, that's where she scares me off. I've seen her dump things on herself.
It is body, what do they call that? Body
dysmorphia? Not dysmorphia.
No, not, but
contortion?
What do they call it? Body horror?
Okay.
Yeah, I think they call it body horror.
Yeah.
It is just, she loves grossing people out.
Yeah, see, that's where you lose me.
But I will say, the room that I was in, I saw her in Philly, and the room was just erupting with, oh my God, laugh. Like, it was just crazy fun. And you should check it out. I think you will enjoy it more than you
Is she nice?
Absolutely nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes scoop, people.
Yeah.
Sarah Sherman for Saturday Night Live is nice. We need better stories than that.
I know. She was, okay, I'll try.
Well, what was the show, Human vs. Hamster?
Human vs. Hamster was kind of like American Ninja Warrior. It was from the same producers of American Ninja Warrior. And they made an enormous obstacle course, like the American Ninja Warrior one. And the humans would race on that one, and then they did an exact scaled down replica for hamsters to race on the exact same obstacles, of course. And they raced against one another.
And then you had to beat a hamster every
time. You
time.
had to beat a hamster. But sometimes the hamsters won. Sometimes it would,
really?
obviously it wouldn't be very fun if the humans always won.
Okay.
Right? So it's because these were courses that are more designed for hamsters than humans.
So stupid question. What was the ratio? The win human versus hamster?
It was, honestly, I will say, it was almost split down the middle. And I'm talking, this was legitimate, authentic. This was not like, they didn't have to like put more cheese at the end for the hamster. Like, it was legitimately almost half and half. But there is the one team won. But I want you to watch the show.
Okay, and it's on.
It's on Max.
Oh, no,
now HBO Max. Okay, but they've never changed the logo. They're like, we're HBO Max now, and all the logos still say Max.
But you know what? I think it was just for me. I think that whole thing of calling it HBO Max again is purely because I was refusing to call it Max.
I always called it HBO Max because HBO. I mean, you don't get much better a brand than HBO. Like, the content's so great. And people think of it as HBO Max, so I'm glad it's back.
Okay. So Brian and I are going through our midlife crises together.
I beg your pardon.
Okay.
This is a private discussion.
Well, we were talking about like going through changes and growing.
I am going through the change.
Yes, we're both going through menopause.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, not again a pause. And so, yeah, yes, we are going through. I think the world, and I do think, yes, I think it is specific to our ages, but also I think we're all thinking like we're living in a time where you really have to lean into what you love harder than ever.
Okay.
I do think that's part of it, but also our age. But I do think, yes, I think we all are stepping back and being like, we're living amongst absolute chaos, so we better be making the most of every minute we have.
Okay, so in the realm of making the most of every minute on this podcast, I have to start doing this strategy, people, and I apologize to you folks watching. I got to go for the clip first, and then we'll have the real conversation.
Do it, yes.
Okay, you're an HGTV executive.
No, not anymore. I was.
Former HGTV executive Brian Balthazar.
Yeah.
Like, we're in your house. It's a mansion. I've never gotten lost in a house before.
It's not a mansion.
Your house is nicer than Whoopi Goldberg's house. How about that?
We have both been to Whoopi Goldberg's house. She has during the holidays, she has a gingerbread house of her house.
Yes.
So
if you tried just a little harder, you'd be tied.
That is nice of you to say. But as someone who grew up in a house that's 1,500 square feet, and then at one point in my life lived in my car, this is a dream I'm living. And no, we're not in church. It looks like we're in church.
Okay, and by the way, we are in. Can we say you're gay? Are you out yet? Okay.
The secret's out.
So you have all these beautiful, picturesque rooms. Hopefully, we'll record B-roll of this.
Okay.
This I feel is this is the room that I feel I identify with the most.
Is that because you need to confess something?
Why? I feel it's like half church and half pool hall.
It is. There's a pool table over here. I love that you described it earlier as like masculine because what straight man would pick out this wallpaper?
Okay, well I guess now, not to say that I'm coming out now, but I am not the straightest straight man.
I appreciate that you said that. I'm like, really? Wow, because like there's literally like cherubs and like it's a religious mural.
It's like the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, because we insisted we put this wallpaper up ourselves. We do everything ourselves that we can.
See, you should be doing a show that covers man who lived in his car. When did you live in your car, by the way?
It was 1996 or 7.
So you're out of college.
Yeah, I was 3 or 4 years out of college, and I was living in Boston. And I ran out of money. Boston's an expensive town now. I can't imagine what it is now, but it was really expensive then. I was driving a Plymouth Acclaim, 1992.
A Plymouth, that's already sad.
Yeah.
Like Plymouth was out of business by then.
Well, and it had, and I was like, I stopped renting that apartment. I either needed to go home to my small hometown in Pennsylvania where there really wasn't much opportunity. No opportunity in television. Right. Or there were no comedy clubs. There's no Chuckles in Honesdale, Pennsylvania.
And even if there is, you're getting what, one spot a month?
Right. And so I was like, it was either that or spend a few weeks, maybe the summer, in my car. I worked at a gym and a bar, so I could shower in the morning at the gym. Okay. I put a suit jacket on one garment hook in the car. You know, have those little hooks in the back seat? Okay. Because I didn't have like tinted windows, so I put a suit jacket on one side and the other side, and the seats of a Plymouth Acclaim, I think it was a 92, folded. Was it a station wagon-y car? No, the back seats folded forward so I could put my legs in the trunk. Weird. And it was, no, I will say this was a choice. I was not forced into homelessness. So respect to people who have that struggle. I made a choice that I was going to do this. until I could figure things out.
I mean, you did have a home, but not in the city you wanted.
Right. But yeah.
No, I mean,
right. Yeah. Yes,
and then
exactly.
how many days, how many weeks were you in the car?
I don't remember. There was a trial, the Louise Woodward trial. Do you remember that trial? The nanny who shook the baby. This is a long time ago. I was like listening to the recaps of that trial for most of the summer. So I don't remember.
See, this is why you are meant to be a development guy. Let me see what true crime I can equate to.
Yeah, right. So it was at least a month or two, and then and I made a promise to myself that I was not going to do hookups just for the bed.
That's funny, but that thought crossed your mind.
You didn't ask me if I kept my promise,
Did you?
but I
did
did keep the promise. I
did. You?
There's one night that was like maybe a little sketchy, but really questionable. Maybe in retrospect, I'm like, maybe the bed was worth it. But
see, I would be like, oh, I'm gonna put out, and then just like fall asleep quick.
Right? Yeah.
You didn't do any of that.
No, because it would have been too easy. Like that would just have been gross. You know what I mean? Like that would have felt dirty.
Yeah, by the way, hooking up just to hang out at somebody's apartment is more gross than sleeping in a Plymouth Acclaim.
Yeah, I mean, and there are like mucous membranes involved when you're hooking up. Like, so yes, I would agree that yes, hooking up.
Okay.
That's a lot. We're coming in hot.
I feel like you and I could have a great, we came in really hot there. Okay. So your home is perfect. It really is. Like
Thank you.
The only mistake you have made with your career is not doing a show of you doing each room here.
Thank you. Well, I've recorded most of it. I do, and I'm actually renovating a little small studio apartment in downtown Philly that I'm recording. It's 478 square feet. It's like an Embassy Suites room.
Okay.
And I do have an Instagram account called Pop Goes the Home. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where I am like starting to put all that stuff. And the plate that you ate your dessert on tonight,
right?
We designed and manufactured.
Oh my God.
And we didn't use them, but I have a line of napkins that have questions on them.
Wait, you sell napkins?
I sell paper napkins called Snapchat.
There's your podcast,
right? And so I have plates, towels, the towel that you use in the bathroom, we designed and manufactured. That's more of a kitchen towel, but we put it in there because it's out.
Sweet. But how do you sell them? Where do you sell them?
A website called Pop Goes the Home, and on Amazon. We also have a pizza.
But how do people know you're out there? Like, is it just referrals?
Well, Amazon, people are finding us.
Yeah.
And we went to some sort of street fair in Lambertville, Pennsylvania. I don't know that I could, as a habit, like go spend my weekends at a table, like hawking my wares. But we actually did really well. And the website, I promoted it in the fall, doing videos on it. And it was amazing how many people supported it, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not living off of it. My income isn't being generated.
No, but the future of show business is we've been doing
merch, baby. It's all about merch.
It's stupid, but it's owning the back end. It's not really merch. Merch is stupid.
I want my back end. I'm gonna own my back end. Yes, is that a gay slur?
It's becoming. You know what? Except for it sounds like you do own your back end.
I do own my back end.
He'd rather own his back end than and sleep at a Plymouth Acclaim.
Right, exactly. Then just give it away. No, I'm not giving it away. Yeah, well, and I would like to, so that's one kind of, I have a little bit of a hype in it, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes my mother used to say, this is crude, and she wouldn't want me to say it, but she's like, you're like splattered shit. Like I was a redneck growing up.
Wow.
I mean, I like to say more like a Jackson Pollock painting. It's
Okay.
a little less disgusting.
Yeah.
But meaning that I'm into a lot of different things.
Okay, and I am
All
too.
over
Yeah.
the place. And so I love home. I love comedy. I love making television. I'm a journalist. As you are. You're all these
I
things.
am, and this is why I have wanted to see you for about a year and a half.
And it's funny because I haven't gotten a call from you.
Oh, you did, and we've just been, but you've been down here.
Okay.
And then you said, "Oh, we'll do something," and then it was destiny that we got booked on the same show.
That's true. Well,
Or was it destiny, or did you make that happen for me?
Well, both.
Yeah.
Both. I think I don't like to take credit for much, truthfully. But
No.
the booker at Catch a Rising Star Princeton actually had already heard of you and mentioned you because of your book.
Jill Zuddy, we love her.
We love Jill
She
Zuddy.
doesn't listen to my podcast, but she does listen to my podcast when I have good guests.
Oh.
So I know she's listening.
Well, yeah, for the next one after me, she's going to listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it is, I feel like there's always something to learn from you.
Serendipitous.
But I think the future of show business is 3 iPhones, and you have to sell your damn napkins.
Absolutely.
But you have to sell something worth more than napkins.
Well, that is absolutely true. Because what I found with the napkins is that the margins are very small and shipping is high.
They're as slim as the napkins.
It is so true. So actually, if I'm honest, like, I started very small because I want to learn the business. I don't want to have 20 products yet. I mean, I do eventually. And the tariffs have kind of screwed it all up, right? I don't have a lot of new things. So all the stuff that I have right now is pre-tariff.
Yeah.
But,
Wait, are you shipping them out of here?
Yeah.
Wait, so hang on. You're a showbiz executive. You're a beautiful decorator. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you're just putting napkins in one by one into boxes?
I do, yeah. I didn't show you a little shipping area. I have
a shipping area.
Yeah, you're not shooting.
That's the only thing this place is missing. You have a gym?
I ship stuff myself. And it's the volume that we have right now is just manageable. My partner is involved in this too, in every way too.
Okay.
So, if I get an order, it takes 2 minutes to pack up an order. We have it down.
Okay.
And I grew up in retail. I was working at Williams-Sonoma and Pottery Barn when I was in college. Yeah.
Whereas I was working at Staples, so much sadder.
And when I've worked in bars and restaurants and on a cruise ship and on a mall. I worked in a mall out of college.
See, I think the future here. Actually, I'm going to pitch you a show. Okay. That's not going to make me a penny. I think the future of social media is I used to be the most famous guy on Instagram on Long Island, and now there are real estate agents,
flippers.
But I think that's the future. Is it someone making 3% off $1 million?
Right.
There's a pizza guy. Actually, there are 2 pizza guys on Long Island now doing stuff. Yeah. And then there's a lot of drunk kids trashing things.
Right.
They're doing well, but they're not making any money off it.
Right.
But I think that's, I heard a great line. The old line of show business was, I would be a comedian to try to get a job, to get an endorsement of a bourbon company.
Right. Yeah.
Now you have to own the bourbon company. So let's see if we could get let me see if you're you're still in the business. So I'm going to ask you some heavier questions, and we'll see if this works.
Okay.
You gave me your Kathie Lee and Hoda story.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a celebrity horror story you're willing to share in public?
Do I have a celebrity horror
story? See, I don't, or I don't have one I'm willing to quite share yet. Okay. Who are you afraid of? I'll tell you one I'm afraid of. Everybody is bad-mouthing Barbara Walters right now.
Oh, really?
Well, I think it's because there's a Hulu documentary about it.
Yeah.
And I think there was a point where no one could say anything bad about Barbara Walters. And honestly, I owe her the best years of my career.
Yeah.
But I always was a little afraid of her.
I was a little afraid of her too.
I got away with a great joke years ago.
Yeah.
When Barbara Walters was getting ready to retire, I would say, join us for Barbara Walters' retirement May 28th, and then join us for her return to television on June 10th. And Barbara, God bless, that wasn't far from the truth, because I think she was back on The View a few more times before she finally retired. But I remember the first time I did it, I got the laugh, and I'm like, she's either going to laugh at this or I'm going to be looking for a new job.
Did she laugh?
She laughed, and she was very, I enjoyed Barbara, especially at the end, because I think that's when she learned my name. And,
right? No, she's a special moment.
She was always nice to me, but my relationship with her was very professional.
Yeah.
And I was very much a soldier for everybody at The View.
She was great. And I'm sure she liked that joke because it spoke to the importance of her being on television and how valuable she was to them.
When you go on TV, are there people you're afraid of, or who do you love to make fun of? How about that? Because you are a pop culture expert.
Thank you. I actually have to say, I used to call myself pop culture with a conscience because I actually don't love to make fun of people. I love to joke with people. Yeah. And then here and there, I love joking to tell truth. Yeah. Because I love repeating Alec Baldwin shot someone in the face whenever I can. Because I think that's an important story. I will say the Hilaria Baldwin thing.
That's another one.
That
you could go for years faking an accent.
Tell me, I think we know why, but SNL has never done the Hilaria Baldwin story. Isn't that interesting?
Because he's a part of the family. Right. And, I'm okay with that.
But that is such an SNL sketch that needs to happen. How do you say cucumber? Come on! How do you say it in Boston? You say cucumber, right? I cannot, first of all, I cannot get enough of the Hilaria Baldwin story.
Okay, well, first of all, what bothers me about Hilaria and Alec is that he could be charged with murder and still shoot a reality show about how wacky his life is.
That is such a
and he's from my hometown. He's from Massapequa.
And I only have had a couple interactions with him in my lifetime. And
were they favorable? Because I found him pretty cold.
When I was working in a mall in Syracuse, New York, in college, and Alec Baldwin came into the Williams-Sonoma and asked for something. And I said we didn't have it, but there was a store called Lecter's up the way that might have it. The Lecter's.
And he was pleasant.
And he was like, I work in the entertainment industry. He didn't say like I'm Alec, but he's like, and no one where I work or where in my town would ever have referred. Like he's saying it complimentary. So my first experience was very complimentary, but he touched me. I'm like, I love how he's saying like vaguely saying I work in this field that's not like this. So he was very, very nice.
No, see, and the difference between Alec Baldwin and me there is I'm like, hi, I'm Tom Kelly. I used to work at Good Morning America and The View. Here's my LinkedIn page, and here's your compliment. Like I have to drop those bombs.
I have been very fortunate. I have not had not a ton of negative celebrity experiences.
You know what? Now you got me thinking. I don't know. I mean, I used to have a story about how Jewel called me an asshole.
Really?
But now I wonder if it was
Did you
true.
deserve it at the time?
I wouldn't let Jewel use the celebrity bathroom at Saturday Night Live.
And what makes you the bouncer of the celebrity bathroom?
I was an NBC page star.
Oh, got it. Okay.
My name tag in Peacock. That's what made me.
Okay, got it. So, but wasn't she a celebrity at the time?
I didn't know who she was.
So
she was probably exactly who I should have let use and go. You know what it was too? It was the night of the tree lighting ceremony. And I had this giant group of people. I was giving them the tour of 8H. And then I think she was in the back and she was with people and she goes, where's the bathroom? I'm like, it's all the way down there to the left and to the right. And she goes, isn't there a bathroom down there? Now, to my credit, I did not know if there was a bathroom down the dressing room hallway.
Oh, okay.
To be fair, I just didn't know. And I said no, and I knew I was not supposed to let people wander there.
Yeah.
So I said just down there, and I think, and I don't even know if it was her calling me the asshole or someone in her entourage, but I think it was the way I would repeat the story was someone said, "Merry Christmas, you fucking asshole."
'Tis the season.
Yeah, so it was either her or entourage. It's the entourages I love making fun of. All right, you and I have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
But what do you say if this 3-camera shoot works?
Yeah.
We do this again.
Absolutely. We have so much more to
Deal?
talk about.
Is there anything we want to promote with you?
Just come to my Instagram page and TikTok.
And what is that now?
Brian Balthazar, Brian.
Where do we buy your napkins? I feel like that's what we should be selling.
Pop Goes the Home. Or, Pop Goes the Home.
If I were totally managing your Instagram, we need Pop Goes the Napkin Instagram, and you just ask people questions off your napkins.
Well, I do have Pop Goes the Home Instagram, and they're on there, and you go to my page, I'm promoting all that stuff. I mean, it's a very wide.
So right now, I buy a pack of napkins off you. What are you getting?
I'm going to give them to you.
There you go.
That's good business right there.
There you go, right
give
there.
It away.
Right there. I mean, it's not quite wallpaper on the Today Show, but it's something. All right, folks, listen, you know how this show works. If you have a chance, comment on the YouTube, comment on my Instagrams, tag a celebrity, tag Alec Baldwin or whatever. No, actually, don't tag Alec Baldwin. I'm a little afraid. No, don't. And while we're at it, maybe not Tom Cruise either. But tag a celebrity, tag Hoda. Or to Kathie Lee Gifford. I don't think Kathie Lee Gifford's checking her Instagram, is she?
No, she is, yeah.
Is she? Okay.
She's on Instagram.
Tag somebody important, folks. We do this show once a week, sometimes twice a week if I'm feeling crazy, and show love where love can be shown. And until next time, good night, Jenkintown. Jenkintown. Good night, Jenkintown.
Good night.
There you go. And let's see if
Show
all
love
three.
where love can be shown.
Yes,
that's your T-shirt.
No, now you see, fine. And I also love ending the show before I hit stop. That was really my way of saying leave a comment where you can leave a comment, but then it sort of became deeper.
I like it. You don't always say that. It's so
I
good.
do say it all the time.
Show love where love can be shown.
I think my 2 catchphrases always is "Who wants to be on TV today" was my warm-up slogan. Sometimes I'll say "Give me thunder," which I think I heard somewhere else, to be honest. And then show love where love can be shown.
I think we just created what they call bonus material.
I think I just got my first piece of branding on Pop Goes the Home.
Here we go.
All right. Good night, Jenkintown.